Gather Round has sucked for us. Can it be different this year? Maybe. We'll see.
Now Majak Door. He's got the runner inside Majak. He tried to shimmy and the sidestep. Yes, the 15. How good is that?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Further North. Big game, Gather Round. Gold Coast Suns, a team that I've doubted for a very long time. And now, officially, I can't doubt them anymore. They've proved me wrong. They're going to be a good team, which sucks because we have to play them this weekend. First of all, apologies. There's going to be no guest this week. As you know, if you're out in the wild, it's incredibly hard to find a Suns fan. I reached out to a couple of Suns podcast and like a Suns fan page, no response. And I've got a mate who is a Suns fan, but no luck getting them on the pod. So you're just rolling with me tonight and my insight on the Gold Coast Suns, which is slim to none. But we're going to talk more about North Melbourne because I've got an idea about how we could set up maybe some ins and some outs just to give us a bit of a better mix. And I'd like your thoughts on that down below. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. It helps me so much. Leave a comment with your thoughts and leave a like on the video. It does help me a lot. Thank you for everyone who does that. And Apple and Spotify, 5-star reviews always help me a lot. Thank you to everyone who's come down to the barbershop as well this week. It's so cool that people come down to the barbershop and chat and come and say hello who listen to the pod. It's really cool. So if you'd like to come down for a haircut, Chat North, the #1 North Melbourne barbershop in Australia, Black and Brown Barbershop in Mitcham, right next to Mitcham Station. Go on the website. You can book in Josh. You can request me, put Further North in the comments so I know you're a listener and I can give you extra special service. All right, let's get into it. I mean, what am I thinking with selection? Like, do we overreact from a really bad performance against Sydney and start swinging the axe? I don't think Clarkson will do that, but a lot of the fans want to. Or is Clarkson in the right where let's not go away too much from what we've been doing because we did play 3 decent weeks of football at the start. Let's not throw the toys out of the pram for one belting because we're always going to get belted. I said this in the video about Clarkson versus the media. If you haven't checked that video out, it's on YouTube now. Please go and check that out. It's a good listen. Hopefully, you guys let me know. But, you know, we were always going to get a couple of these this year. We're always going to get 2-3 games where it looks like old times. We're never going to go through a whole season looking perfect and any of that sort of stuff. So this week is the test to see if that was real or not. With the first 3 weeks, our performance against the Ds, all that stuff, is that real or was that us coming out of the gates quick, but going to taper away back to what we've been doing? I sure hope it's the earlier, not the latter, but we will see. So I'm interested to see some of the changes. We went in way too heavy on the key defenders last week, which we all know. It was really nice to see Whitlock get his debut, but does he play again just because of structure? Not sure. I'm really interested to see that. Let's talk about this team that I've sort of sat down and had to think about. And I'm trying to keep it as realistic as possible. I'm not just going to start, let's put, Geordie Payne and Teakle in and all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's probably not going to happen. So I've tried to keep it within an element of realism here. And this is up for debate. I'm just going to read this out, my reasoning as to why, and you guys let me know down below maybe what changes you would make. By the time you're seeing this video, you would have seen the changes. I haven't seen them yet. Of course, as you know, I react live to the team on the preview pod every single week. So, Jackson Archer obviously is the one that can come back in this week. So I'll be bringing him back in. So the back line would consist of Archer, Core, Pink, Daniel, Comben, and Hardiman. And then I'm going to put Luke McDonald on the bench for another defender there. So there's sort of your back 7. Archer coming back in is pretty simple to explain. We need that guy down there. He's a fantastic player. Toby Pink comes in because he just did not deserve to get dropped. Our backline has looked the best for probably 8 years when Pink, Core, and Comben played down there. I know the D's forward line isn't crazy scary, but that is the best our backline looked. Daniel coming off halfback. A little bit of negativity around Caleb Daniel. I think it's a little bit harsh. I don't think he's been quite as bad as people like to say. Now, has he been quite as good as maybe his preseason form suggested? Maybe not, but you can see he's trying to do the right things. And I think it's a lot about the system and the team around him that he needs them to step up to be able to do what he does. I do think he's a proven commodity. So I've got no question over Daniel. He plays. I understand maybe people questioning him, but I think the criticism is maybe a bit harsh, just a personal one. And I'd keep Hardiman in. I think 10 touches in the last quarter. I think he did enough. And we looked a lot better, obviously, taking Whitlock off and having Hardiman on. Just our defense looked more balanced. Four key defenders is ridiculous. So I don't know what Clarkson was trying to do there. So that would be my back six with Luke McDonald on the bench. The midfield is where it's going to get a little bit more interesting. Let's go the center square. I won't worry about the wings just yet. So obviously Tristan Sherry. And then the midfield three, in my opinion, our most common midfield three for CBA attendances this year is Powell, LDU, and Parker. And I just don't think those guys are different enough to offer enough in our midfield. Our midfield, when it's cooking, looks really good. But when it's not, we have no ability to go against the play. Now, what I would be doing here, I want to see Colby McKercher in the midfield. He's been a midfielder his whole life. I love him on the wing. I love him off half back. I think he's played 2 really good weeks now and he's building into the season. But I want LDU, Sheasel, and McKercher at the centre bounce. You've got Parker who can run off the square. You've got your wings who can run in as well. Other players can get around the ball. But I just like that mix. LDU is your ball winner, your Rolls Royce, your classy, you're going to burst out of the pack. He's going to bomb it into the 50 as far as he can. But we know what LDU can produce. I don't think it's a question that LDU should be in there. Criticism around LDU as well. It's fair, but I think historically he's usually takes 4 to 6 weeks to warm up into the season, which if you're going to get $1.2 million, probably isn't good enough. But right now, I still back him. I still think he'll be okay. I think he's been on the precipice of really big games. He just hasn't fully put it together. But you can tell with guys like Daniel and LDU that it's not they're underperforming. They're trying their best to break through, and I think the team around them isn't quite clicking. LDU has flaws, especially with his disposal. But then this is why we've got McKercher and Sheasel next to him. LDU is your ball winner. McKercher is your guy that you need to receive the handball 2 steps and he should be away from the contest. And then Sheasel just all class. Does LDU win the footy? Can Sheasel dish it out to a McKercher and then you go? I think that midfield is the best balance of explosiveness and composure. Because McKercher can be explosive with his pace and his disposal is fantastic. Sheasel, we know what Harry Sheasel is. His best game for the year last year. And LDU, he's our best midfielder. So that's the midfield mix I would like to see. Now on the wings, I've put Dylan Stephens on the left wing and Finn O'Sullivan on the right. It doesn't really matter which wing they're on. Stephens was fine. He got 18 touches last game. I think he was pretty clean with the football. I know people hate him, but I think his game was decent enough to get another to get another shot this week. My mistake. So, but he's also a getting subbed off candidate as well. I'm not that biased on Dylan Stephens. I just think, he played all right. And out of everyone last game, he was, I'd say, in the top half of our better players last week. So Dylan Stephens, give him a shot, but absolutely is a sub candidate for later in the game. Finn O'Sullivan on the other wing, runner, classy, can drop back from the wing. Maybe Stephens can push forward a little bit more and use his delivery. Maybe Foss can push back a little bit off that wing and sort of link up with a Hardiman and a Daniel. I think the thing with Daniel is maybe our midfielders need to link with the defenders a little bit more. And because Foss has been playing off the half-back, maybe he's used to linking up with Daniel a little bit more. Hardiman has shown he can be good down there. So maybe Foss can be that winger who pushes back and helps the midfield and helps drive us forward. If McKercher isn't doing it, Finn O'Sullivan can break the game open with his pace. We've seen that off half-back. So I think that'd be really effective. Stephens just needs to be a guy that keeps the ball ticking, to be honest. He needs to run back, put his body on the line, use his disposal, and then run and try and get the ball back. Very, very simple. Keep it simple because Stephens, not going to be the best player I've ever seen, but I think he can be an important cog, maybe when there's other guys who I don't know about on the wing. Now, the big thing there is Bailey Scott. Now, Bailey Scott has been averaging 14 touches a game. I think he needs to be made to earn it. And we're going to read some players out who haven't made the squad in at the end, but he needs to earn it. And these are some of the things I'll be doing to swing the axe a little bit, just to say to guys, pull your heads in. If you're not pulling your weight, you're probably not going to play in this team because we have depth now. I mean, Stephens has been better than Scott this year, I would say, especially, the couple of games he's played. So I know that's going to get a lot of contexture. I know that I'm a little bit of a Dylan Stevens. I'm pro Dylan Stevens. But I just think give him the shot and don't be afraid to sub off early in the third or something like that, Let's go to the forward line. The forward line is fairly similar except for one big thing where I want to see Larkey and Whitlock up forward. Now, I know this isn't going to happen, but one of the biggest things I think we'll look back on in 2 to 3 years' time is why didn't we play Whitlock as a forward? Now, maybe we're playing him in defense in the twos and early in his career just so he can get used to being behind the football like we did with Shees, like we did with Kirch, or like we're doing with Sullivan. All those sort of guys. Maybe we're doing that to get him around the football. But I just imagine a 200-centimeter Whitlock jumping at the footy in those packs. I think that's where he's going to be best utilised. He's shown he can take a clunk in the twos. So let's give him a shot. He's played forward. It just gives us a completely different dynamic than we've ever had down there. Now, I think maybe Darling on the bench or potentially a rest this week. I don't think the Gold Coast is an incredibly winnable game, but Carlton next week is. And I think Darling has been good, but you can tell he's maybe been a bit flat the last couple of weeks. So maybe give him a week off and bring him back in for the Blues. Or you can play him on the bench. I don't think Whitlock, Larkey, and Darling is a bad forward rotation for key position players. You know what I mean? And once again, the sub is there. If you want to sub Darling off, if Stevens is playing okay, maybe Darling can come off and you can mix and match a little bit more there, just like Whitlock did the week before. So I know this will never happen, but my forward line is Zurhaar, Whitlock, Parker, Constanti, Larkey, Curtis. And I think you've got your contested marking guy, and Whitlock's skinny. I know he's not going to clunk heaps of them, but 200 centimeters, he is a contested marking player. Give him a shot at just jumping at the footy and being taller than everybody else. Larkey is your lead up forward. Zurhaar and Curtis work their asses off. We know what they can produce. If they're not looked after enough, they will kick goals. Parker is your half forward. He runs straight into the guts. And if there is a stoppage and we don't win it out cleanly, he can then get around the football, so he's not far away from it. And Constanti just being that little nippy forward, do exactly what he's been doing. If he can get on the scoreboard a little bit more, that'd be great. 2 points last week. If he can kick a goal or two a week and just keep having that forward pressure, it's a tick because he offers something different to what we've been doing. So there's the 18. Now on the bench, I've got Darling, but I've put in brackets Teakle. Maybe give Teakle a shot. If the backup ruck situation has been interesting, especially with Jerry with his potential light injury that he's carrying at the moment. Teagle's been good in the twos, hasn't kicked incredibly straight, but other than that, he's been really, really impressive. So potentially Teakle, Simpkin, McDonald, and Powell on the bench. Now, just before anyone says anything about Tom Powell, this is only because of the balance on the team. If you put Tom Powell on the wing and let him run up and down, completely fine. Then maybe he could run straight into the thing. The only reason I put Tom Powell there is because LDU, McKercher, and Sheasel are the three I want in the middle. And maybe the other players are more suited to those positions. So he'll get plenty of game time and get plenty of CBAs. This is not a Tom Powell thing whatsoever. So that's the bench I would go with. I think Tom Powell is maybe a little bit too similar to LDU, except LDU is maybe slightly better than Tom Powell. So, and then with Parker in that midfield, it just doesn't offer enough skill by foot and speed. And I think that's what we're missing in that midfield. Yes, you got some hard nuts in there. Powell and LDU and Parker can win the ball very well, but I question the disposal on Powell and LDU. And who's the guy that's going to break the game open by foot, pounce out of that midfield and then dispose of it well? And you got Shees and you got McKercher, especially McKercher with his pace. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Simpkin on the bench, keep playing the same role that he's doing. Can't kick to save his life, Simpkin. I love Jai Simpkin, but, he really needs to start turning it up with his disposal a little bit. It's getting frustrating. The game's in the balance and he misses that kick into the forward line last week after spinning out of a tackle and just butchers the thing and it goes over her head. Criminal from your captain. So he's got to step up. I like what McDonald's been doing the last few weeks. I think he's been very solid. Darling / Teakle, you can pick either of those. And Powell, obviously, because he's a good midfielder and he should be in that midfield mix. He hasn't done anything wrong, doesn't deserve to get dropped. I just think with the midfield balance, I would probably like LDU, McKercher, and Sheasel in there as a 3, but obviously 4 or 5, 6 will rotate through there. So lastly, the sub. I'm putting Zane Dersma in. We need a little bit of spark. Dersma's been playing a lot of midfield. I could also see maybe chuck a Dersma on the wing for Stevens. Now, I know the question is over Dersma's work rate and his defensive ability, but I'm thinking I thought Eddie Ford as well, but he got injured. so I'm assuming he's not going to be playing. But I think the twos have a bye as well, so they're doing some intra-club stuff. But give us Dersmer up on the wing just to try and take some hangers, use his talent, give us a spark, even around the contest. Give us something different. That's what we're missing in our midfield, something different. And this is my main thing in this team. So give me Dersmer as the sub. I could see him and Stevens getting swapped even early in the third or something like that if he's not performing. Or if one of the bigger guys, like if Darling plays, maybe needs a spell, chuck Dersmer up in that forward line. But Dersmer's been playing a lot of midfield in the twos and hasn't really done much up forward. So it's interesting. It's interesting. But I think that is a better balance. So I'll read it one more time and please let me know down low and then we'll go over a couple of droppings and then we'll go on to the rest of the preview. So Archer, Core, Pink, Daniel, Comb and Hardiman. O'Sullivan and Stevens on the wings with LDU in the guts. Jerry, McKercher and Sheasel rounding out that midfield. I just like that balance. Serha, Whitlock, Parker, Constanti, Larkey, Curtis in the forward line with Darling / Teakle, take your pick. Maybe rest Darling, Simpkin, McDonald, Powell, and Dersmer as the sub. Now, Logue has been dropped, Tucker has been dropped, Robert Hansen Jr. has been dropped, and Scott has been dropped from that team that played against Sydney for me. Logue, definitely the guy I want in there over Pink long term. But I just want Logue to earn it. And I don't think he was bad last week. It's probably a little bit harsh to drop him, but I think Toby Pink did not deserve to get dropped. Combin and Core, you can't drop them. Logue is still coming back a little bit. I think you just got to keep Pink. Like, I want Pink in that team because our defense looked great when Pink was in there. So I want to make Logue earn it, earn his spot. Don't just come in because you're the bigger name. Tucker. Yeah, we had a debate about Tucker with Joel on the pod, and yeah, he's probably a bit of a scapegoat. I'm probably a little bit too harsh on him, but the things he does negatively, I think, impact the team more than the things he does positively. So I'd rather a Hardiman, Finn O'Sullivan, Daniel, any of those guys down there anyway. I think we can all agree with that. Hansen Jr., look, really harsh on the young guy. Not harsh to get dropped because he deserves to get dropped after the last couple of weeks. Really not impacting the ball. But his first few weeks were so exciting as well. So I hope he can go back to the twos and work on his game and come back in and get back into that side. That'd be fantastic to see. And Bailey Scott is the one that seemed undroppable really for the last 4 years of his career. But yeah, he just hasn't been doing it, to be honest. And you've got to be more ruthless. I think Scott's averaging 14 touches, got 12 touches last week. Stevens got 18. Look, it's not the perfect replacement, I know, but I don't want to put a Powell on a wing. It just doesn't make sense. He's not a winger. I know you can just throw people there, and Powell's a better player than Stevens, obviously. But just for balance with Stevens' running ability with Foss on the other wing, I think it just balances the team more. I don't want to be putting McDonald's there. I don't want to be putting Simpkins and Powells and that sort of stuff on the wing. He's not a winger. They're a midfielder. So anyway, that is my team. Let me know down below if you think that's fair or you think I'm completely inept on football. Let's talk about the Suns a little bit. The talent that they've got is finally showing through. And I think their contested work is really, really impressive. Obviously, they've got King up in the forward line to be an absolute beast. I guess this is going to be like the Coleman medal race, right? Are they both equal? I'll see if I can find this here. But I think that Larkey equaled it, if I'm not mistaken. So let's have a look here. Goals. No, he's not even in there. Have I got that completely wrong? I thought King was up there. Don't worry about it then. Larkey's on 14. Thilthorpe is on 14. Hogan, Darcy, Fogarty. Where is King? I thought King was up there as well. Or maybe he just had one big week. Okay, he's kicked 12 goals. Only 2 goals behind. That's why I was thinking that. Okay. Yeah, the Gold Coast Suns look good, and I hate that. I don't like the Suns very much. I think the Gold Coast is just a gross place to be and like a gross organisation. Apologies to anyone listening who lives up there. I just don't think it's a place you go to win football games, and you go. I think you go there for lifestyle and money, and I just don't like that in sports in general. The Gold Coast have been getting fed top picks, the top 10 picks since their inception in 2012, I think it was. So about time they become good. It just sucks that they're playing well now and we're still bad. But hey, they've been rebuilding since their first game ever in the league, I guess. So it is what it is. Look, enough Suns disrespect. They're playing really well. Dimmer looks to have got them clicking decently well. And they look like a really, really dangerous team. Matt Rowell looks like the best mid in the comp. I guess he sort of does this every year where he looks incredible. all the time. I don't know. I really wish that they weren't this good, but it's a scary proposition for the Suns. Now, maybe I'll just have a look at their last couple of games, and we can have a look at some stats. But their contested side worries me. Their forward line worries me as well with King and is it Long? Is that his name? He just always seems to bob up for goals. I don't know if it's just in big moments. He screams a guy that kicks 20, but kicks 20 of the goals that you remember for the year. Let's have a look at their last game against Adelaide, because this is a really interesting one. That was the one for me that I said on the pod that if they win this game, I cannot say anything else negative about the Suns. I have to give them their flowers, and here I am. Here I am giving them their flowers. So let's look at some of the goal kickers for them. Jed Walter kicked 3. I forgot about that name. Another guy we should have got in the draft, and we didn't. Thank you, AFL, for creating a rubbish system. Ben Long, 2 goals. Ben King, 2 goals. Yeah. If Jed Walter can come on, because he didn't really do it last year, it's his first year. So, that forward line sort of scares me. Ethan Reed, their ruckman as well. There's big guys down there that can push forward and kick goals and cause problems. Like I said, Matt Rowell in the midfield. And I guess picking up guys like a Noble and a Rioli has sort of, it's almost like they're Daniel Darling Parker signings. You know what I mean? So they're looking like more of a unit. I mean, Sam Flanders and their midfielder, we don't need to speak about. I mean, Miller, Flanders, Anderson, all these guys are really good. Rao scares me, but he's that player that can do a lot with like 20 touches or under. But how much does he impact the game? He is always the sort of guy, you're in and under, get your head over it. What did he have last week? 8 tackles. So he's only got 17 touches. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And their back line, I love Mac Andrew as a player. I think he's really, really good and can be really, really good, but he's very hot and cold. So we'll see. We'll see what he can do. And what's the bloke with the mullet? Collins? Is it Collins? He is another player. Yeah, that's him. He's another player for me that I just think he's really, really solid. Sam Collins, that's the one. He's really, really solid player, and he's a good defender. And, Andrew, Noble, Collins, Rioli, Will Powell down there. I think they're starting to look like a much better unit, and that's something that we really need to get towards. Rowell in the middle. Witts is back as well. Anderson in there, who racks up Brownlow votes. Flanders pushing into the midfield a bit. I think, they do look like a decent side now, don't they? So I'm a little bit scared. I want to know what we're going to go with. That's about as much as, apologies for my lack of Suns knowledge. I think they're the last team anyone knows anything about. But let's go to live team reaction, because I've said my team. I've said what I want. Let's see what Clarkson goes. I don't think there's going to be crazy changes, but we need to do something. Oh, okay. Bailey Scott got dropped. Wow. I didn't predict it. I wanted it, but damn. That's a big out. Scott, Whitlock, Hanson Jr. out, Fisher, Dersma, and Finn O'Sullivan in. Very, very interesting. Okay. Dersma's an interesting pick. Dersma's a very interesting pick. Questions over Dersma. I wonder where he's going to play. So Darling is still in. Whitlock out, so I'm not going to get my dream of Whitlock forwards. So Larkey, Darling, and maybe Dersma is going to play there. Is Dersma going to play more in the midfield? That's going to be something really interesting. So Combin, Core, Logue, Tucker, Daniel McDonald named in that back line. Pretty standard. Tucker always there, of course. Can't do a thing wrong. McKercher and Finn O'Sullivan on the wings is pretty interesting. I know this isn't the final thing, but this team looks more balanced than, naming people in like Bailey Scott off halfback and that sort of stuff. Powell, LDU, Simkin named in the midfield. That's going to be a 6-man rotation regardless. Yeah, it's really interesting. Pink and Teakle emergencies as well, which is, Pink should be in the side personally, but hey, it is what it is. All right, O'Sullivan back in. That makes a lot of sense. Fisher, let's talk about Fisher. Zach Fisher in. I feel like he got a 40-piece, didn't he, in the VFL? Let's see if I can look up his VFL numbers last week. Was it last week or the week before that he got 40 touches or something? I want to know what you guys think about Zach Fisher coming back in. I like it. I like Zach Fisher. I think he can give us, we need run and we need carry and we need distribution. And that's the stuff I feel like we're really missing. We cannot, for the life of us, get that ball out of our back line. Let's have a look. We ended up smashing the Swans last week, didn't we? Player stats. Let's have a look. Did he play? Did he play? Or did he not? Maybe it was the week before he had that 40 piece. No, he did not play. Dawson Stevens, Goad. Please don't tell me I just completely missed it. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look at Dersma because we got his stats right here. 18 touches. Does it tell me his centre bounce attendances? It doesn't. Only one tackle, 2 clearances. He kicked 2 goals though, so maybe he was pushing forward a little bit more. I watched a bit of that game and I saw a lot of him in the midfield. Yeah, Fisher did not play. All right, no Wardlaw is another talking point as well, but let's focus on one thing at a time here. Let's go through each individual thing and talk about it. O'Sullivan makes a lot of sense, comes back in, done nothing wrong. Dersma, I don't mind it. I mean, I had him in my team, and I think he could be a little bit of a spark. I think he could add a little bit of flair, maybe if he pushes up the ground. You know, when we do need that dump kick, he can be, I reckon, maybe chuck him on a wing and just see if he can take those marks or bring the ball to ground. We're not just getting outmarked. And if he can have a little bit of hunger and desire for the footy, I think that'd be really exciting. Zach Fisher is the interesting one. Is he going to play half back? Is he going to play a different position? Especially with O'Sullivan playing off half back, Tucker, McDonald, Daniel down there. Obviously, Fisher has never played with Daniel or O'Sullivan in the side. You know, haven't played a game this year. So we do have more distributors off half back. Archer not being in is the interesting one. I'm correct with Archer though, right? Bulldogs, and then we played the D's, the Crows, and the Swans. And that's 3 games. So why isn't Jackson Archer in the team? Oh, he got injured. My mistake. He did a hammy at training. I completely forgot about that. All good with that then. I think Fisher is a good in. I'm excited to see him. And I think we just need that run off halfback to get it forward. Because I believe once we get it into our forward line, I think we can be dangerous. We have to get it through the back line, through the midfield, quickly. And Fisher gives us a bit of spark. O'Sullivan gives us a bit of spark. And Dersma can give us something in the air. So I don't mind these ins. Whitlock, it sort of is what it is, unfortunately, for the young fella. Play him as a forward. Train him as a forward, Clarko. I just don't understand it. But hey, I'm not going to keep banging on about this. Everyone's probably roasting me in the comments saying, no, mate, he's done this. Hanson Jr. makes a lot of sense. And Bailey Scott, yep, I think that's harsh but fair. And we need to start setting standards at this football club that you can't just cruise, coast, and stay in the team. Even though Tucker does it every single week. So, yeah, I like that Hardiman's still in this team. He played well. Let's keep him in and see if he can take that spot. Interesting when Goda ends up coming back. I like Goda maybe a little bit more for what we need, but Hardiman was really, really good in that one quarter he got. What was Hardiman's stats in the VFL? He played in the VFL. 16 touches, took 5 marks, a tackle. Okay. I only watched the first half of the Swans game and then I had to go out. So I'll try and watch a bit more VFL for you guys. Anyway, yeah, I think that's really interesting. Okay, I like those changes. They're positive changes where we're going more aggressive with the changes, which I really, really like. Let me know down below what you guys think of those changes. If you would have brought anyone in, do you reckon they're good changes, aggressive changes? Do you reckon any of them are unfair? Give me all your thoughts because it's really interesting to see. Please comment down below on YouTube. All right, let's tip some games and get out of here. It's a little bit more of a rogue episode because I didn't have the guest on. We're at about half an hour now, so let's get in and out of here within 35. Let's see how we go. And I'll tip North's game in a second, actually, because we haven't done that yet because we usually done the preview. Adelaide and Geelong are playing right now. Adelaide are 33-21 right at the end of the first quarter. I think this will be a really good game. I've tipped Adelaide in my footy tip. I had a shocker week of tips last week. I'm bottom of the table for our work footy tipping. I'm the one of the footy podcast and I can't tip to save my life. Anyway, I'm going to tip Adelaide over Geelong, but I think it could go anyway. I've been backing the Cats every week that they've lost, so I'm off them now. I think the Pies beat the Swans. It'd be nice if the Swans won. Might make us feel a little bit better about last week, but I think the Pies might get that one. I think the Gold Coast beat us. I do. If it could be a similar game to the Adelaide, if we could lose by like 3 or 4 goals and compete the whole time. Obviously, I want to win the game. I know people get weird about that. No, you should back them every week. I love my team, but I'm trying to be a bit realistic with this. They're a lot better than us. Down at the Barossa, we're playing at 12:30. Oh, Cats kicked a goal. 12:30 on Saturday. It's just a stupid time. So I'm a complete nuffy. I got work off early to watch this game. God, I got to get a life. Anyway, I'm going to go the Suns by 3 or 4 goals. I think that's realistic. Carlton, West Coast. You've got to go the Blues. But if the Blues lose and we go into the Blues game on Good Friday next week and they're 0-5, sweet mother of God. I don't even know if that's better for us or not, to be honest, because then all the pressure's on us to beat. We don't want to be the ones to play them into form like we did Hawthorn the year before. I'm going to go to Blues, but geez, if they don't win, it's going to be hilarious. Make sure you tune to SEN. Bulldogs, Brisbane. Brisbane. Brisbane don't thrill me. They don't look like they're very dominant, but they just keep winning. So, I can't keep questioning it. They don't look as dangerous as last year, but hey, they keep doing it. Brisbane, Essendon, Melbourne, the grossest game you will ever see. This is gross. A Saturday night for gather round as well. How disgusting is that? Put North on Saturday night. North Bowl is supreme. I'll go Melbourne because their names are better. Their individual names are better, but I do think Essendon is maybe a slightly better unit. It's a low bar to set. Don't get me wrong. It's a very low bar to set. But the D's haven't won a game. Gross. I hate this. I'll go the D's. Richmond, Freo. Give me Freo. Richmond suck. Saints, Giants. If the Saints beat the Giants, they might be real this year, which sucks because I thought we'd be ahead of them. Giants, though, give me the Giants. I think they're getting their good players back. I think they're going to warm into this season. I think they're still going to be my premiership tip, but realistically, it's probably Hawthorn. Speaking of Hawthorn, Port Hawthorn will smash Port, and I hope they absolutely obliterate them. I hate Hawthorn because I'm jealous of how good they are. Aaron Fernando, if you're listening, I respect you, my friend. But the Hawks piss me off, and there's no winners for me in this game. But Hawthorn will smash them, to be fair. All right, that's about all we've got. Thank you for tuning in. A slightly shorter preview. Sorry I couldn't get anyone on. I really did try. The Suns are the only team I can never find anyone for. It's 2 years in a row of me not really being able to find anybody. So if you know anyone who can get on, please let me know. I tried to message Tom from the Footy with Broden and no response 2 years in a row. So too big for me, apparently. Anyway, thank you so much. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. It really helps. I like the engagement, especially Instagram. That's the best place to contact me. I'll get back to the messages as soon as I can. There's a lot of them. And I love it, and I'll always get back to you eventually. It might just not be on the day, but I'll try my best. That's where I get all your thoughts. Get ready for voice messages this week. I need more. We're getting 3 or 4 a week at the moment. The first week we got like 8 or 9. Contribute with your voice messages, please. It really makes the podcast fun. I love listening to them. Other than that, YouTube, thank you so much. Subscribe, like, follow along for more stuff to do with North Melbourne, the home of North Melbourne content here at Further North. Thank you so much, guys. You're the best. Thank you for tuning in every week. It genuinely means the world. So come and see me at the barbershop. Go North. Take care of yourselves on Saturday, guys, because I'm nervous. All right, let's get out of here. See ya. Bye.